Good morning, beautiful people. How are you? I'm on here today to talk about the Leo full moon, January 28th. I wanted to come on here for a few days, but I decided to wait until, good morning. I decided to wait until my head was a little bit more clear. There was a lot of energy this week, and I think that I sometimes go through the transits a little bit early in order to talk about them a little bit more. Hi, so we're going to talk about the Leo full moon, which is next week. It's on Thursday, January 28th. It's at 9 degrees of Leo. So look to where 9 degrees of Leo is for you. Also, though, we are having a lot of energy in Aquarius and Taurus. So look to the early degrees of the fixed signs. And I'm going to talk more about that as we go on, but definitely look to 9 degrees of Leo, but then look to other fixed signs early degrees. So that would be Aquarius, that would be Taurus, Leo, and then we have, hi, if you're just joining me, talking about the Leo full moon, Scorpio, okay? And we're going to talk more about Scorpio because we need that energy this week. So in the sky, we are having a lot of different things happen. So much, yay! All my Aquariuses are on here. There's so much happening that it's a struggle to put it to words in a concise way for those of you that don't speak the language of astrology, to transmute and translate and condense the energy into some words that make sense. So let's try that. The first thing I want to talk about, the very first thing I want to talk about is we are heading into Mercury retrograde. I'll have a whole other video on that. But Mercury is leading the way in the Aquarius energy. And that's why I think too, I found that a lot of us are struggling with processing and getting the words to speak to what's happening for us or what we're feeling or those kind of things, because Mercury is leading the way and we're kind of feeling like, I can't keep up. But when Mercury goes retrograde, that will give us all time to digest, let things kind of process and sort through. Mercury retrograde, we review, revisit, rework through things, okay? So that's all coming. So look to your end degrees of Aquarius to see where that Mercury retrograde is happening. But Mercury's leading the way. Then we have Jupiter, the Sun, Saturn, all in Aquarius, okay? And Jupiter and the Sun, Jupiter's at the same degree as the Sun. Now remember, Jupiter is the largest planet outside. The Sun's not a planet. The Sun is huge, right? But Jupiter is the largest planet. And when it comes right next to the Sun, typically that's a beautiful thing and very expansive energy, very expansive thinking, especially in Aquarius, very forward thinking, okay? Jupiter and the Sun like being next to each other. They like it. It expands. Everything expands. Now again, in Aquarius, because Aquarius is so intellectual, thinking, processing, future thinking, thinking outside the box, thinking, ideas, information, intelligence, right? We're getting bombarded with information overload, right? And so again, once Mercury goes retrograde, things will calm down, okay? It's really important to remember that we have more access to information than we've ever had. It doesn't mean that we should digest it all or take it all in. We need to know when to shut it down. We need to know when to take breaks and unplug. And that is essential leading up to this full moon, because there's a lot of information coming at us. So Jupiter not only is on the same degree as the Sun, but if you remember at a full moon, the Sun and the moon, and you can see this in the sky if you have clear skies, if you go out at dusk, you can see where the Sun is still setting and you can see where the moon is starting to rise, and they'll be on opposite sides of the sky. That's a full moon. At a new moon, when you see the sun setting and you see that first little glimmer of the sliver of the moon, it'll be where the Sun went down, right? So full moon, we're seeing consciously, to our conscious awareness, we are seeing our emotions, our moods, are anything that needs to be cleared out from the subconscious minds at the full moon that happens. So where are we doing that? Leo, which is about our creativity, our charisma, the way that we relate to others, our own ability to get into our feelings of worthiness and value. And that's something that's coming up for a lot of clients right now. Big breakthroughs around where they've held themselves back based on childhood experiences, based on other experiences, because they were somehow subconsciously held the belief that they weren't worthy. And so at the Leo full moon, there's that ability to tap into that childlike nature that just wants to create for the sake of creating, that just wants to, Leo rules our hobbies and our leisure. And a lot of us with this whole stay at home, mandate or whatever, are finding new ways to do leisure, to have hobbies. A lot of people are getting into their craft. But for those that aren't, they're, again, bringing in just a lot, consuming a lot of stuff. And hence why I'm doing a workshop on February 12th, which is called Get Your Creative Juices Flowing. And there's more on that on the link in my profile. And if you're watching this as a playback, I'll post a link below. But that workshop's all about getting out of consumption and into creation, and ways in which we can tap into that feminine, the feminine archetype of the creator destroyer. So sometimes we need to destroy old illusions. Sometimes we need to destroy old beliefs about the ways in which we create. And for a lot of people, this beginning of the year have struggled with knowing what they even want, what they're going to create, what they want to see happen in 2021. And so this full moon clears away a lot of the reasons why people couldn't get into what they really wanted this year, because of all of the information coming their way about roadblocks. You can't do this, you can't do this right now, you can't do this. So this full moon really highlights the expansiveness of, okay, well, I can't control some of this, but I can control these other things, and therefore I'm going to create. So look to where 9 degrees of Leo is for you. Typically you'll see that with this full moon, things will be highlighted for you to create in that house, okay? So that's big news, is that Jupiter is expanding on that, our consciousness around where we've held ourselves back from creating, okay? That's one of the aspects of this crazy full moon, okay? This crazy, crazy full moon, because holy moly, we have, I'm gonna probably say this wrong because Hygeia? No, I said that right. Hygeia is the archetype, the feminine archetype of health, keeping things like clean and healthy and nourished. And if she's an extreme, it can be hypochondria. Like if she's prominent in your chart, you might be someone who's really into cleaning. You might have a home cleaning business and love it, or organization, or feng shui. I'm really into feng shui. So definitely look to where your Hygeia is in your chart. It's kind of interesting to see where you get into this mode. So at the extreme though, like at a full moon, like when she's conjunct the moon at a full moon, this full moon, she can highlight extremes in that. Hyper sanitization, hyper awareness. There could be, governmental things that come out. Because remember, a full moon it might be things that have already people have been working on or whatever. At the full moon, it's like, oh, and here it is. So like, I know that there's just been a new way of, yes, I love feng shui too. I got my new Leo earrings too. They came in the mail actually this morning. So I was like, that's hilarious. I got to wear them from my Leo full moon video. Okay, so Hygeia, back to her. I did see that there was a new thing about flying. I know that with the vaccine, there's a lot of different places of work that are enforcing or inviting people to get the vaccine. So this Hygeia at the full moon, when she's conjunct the moon, those deeper subconscious beliefs, fears, whatever, come to the surface. So we might see more fear around like the virus or the virus mutating or the vaccine, you know, not working or something like that. That could be part of this, okay? Because especially Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is in Aquarius, which regardless of what happens, it will bring us forward in some way. And because Jupiter's opposing Hygeia as well. So just know that this, for the next, like, I don't recommend doing much of anything until this full moon passes. Like, this is a crazy time with the astrology. And when I say that, it's just, the astrology is just reading the energy of what is. So it's a crazy time, okay? And take it easy with yourself. Be kind to yourself, be kind with others. Whenever we see Mars squaring a full moon, which it is, we want to be cautious driving. Especially because Uranus and Mars are conjunct each other. We want to be cautious as we're moving about in the world. If you're in Aries or you have Aries placements, be careful of your head because Aries people and people with Aries stuff in their chart tends to hit their head a lot. So just, you know, be cautious as you're moving about next week. I don't recommend doing big moves or shifts or vigorous activities. It's definitely a time to just chill out, get creative. But, you know, if you're working with needles or those sewing knives, have you ever cut yourself with one of those sewing knives? Holy crap, that hurts. So just be careful, move slower. And this isn't to be fear-based. This is just to be like, oh, I'm going to chill out a little bit this week. Okay, because Uranus just did its conjunction with Mars, and Mars is starting to move away from Uranus, but they're still within 4 degrees of each other. And Uranus is sudden shifts and changes. And, you know, Mars in Taurus wants us to move a little slower, wants us to be a little bit more like, you know, taking care of our bodies and slowing down. It is a tendency time to overeat. So be aware of that. And maybe if you're trying to do some kind of cleanse, maybe have it be that you're not as strict on that, or, you know, ease up on yourself. Because when Mars is in Taurus with Uranus, hey, there's Black Moon Lilith also there at 11 degrees. Black Moon Lilith is the ride or die. I call her the ride or die bitch. And she's not having any kind of restrictions on, you know, her comfort. She wants to be comfortable. And at this full moon, it's anything but comfortable. And so what we need to do whenever there's a T-square, so what a T-square is in astrology is, we have the sun and the moon. I'm just going to use this full moon as an example. We have the sun and the moon over here. And then over here, down here, we have Mars in Taurus, okay? That's a T-square because I don't have another hand. I can't do that. But what it's doing is it creates this like tension. It's almost like an arrow, like, you know, and where we want to look to where it's, in astrology, they say the missing leg. For me, I like to think of it as where's the arrow pointing us to lean into, and that's our Scorpio house. So where's your Scorpio house? Like, I know for me, that's my home. So I'm going to stay close to home for the full moon. You know, most of us are, probably, not everyone. Hi, if you're just joining me and talking about the Leo full moon. So, you know, that's not a big surprise, but let's say your Scorpio house is your 9th house, then go deep into learning something. Go deep into expanding your mind through, you know, taking a class or reading a book, or sign up for my workshop, which is on February 12th, which is like starting that initiating process. There'll be an amazing workbook that goes along with that workshop that I'm super excited about. That's all about getting into your creativity, coming from triple Leo. I got it. I got you. So, let's do this. Lean into your transformative Scorpio house. Now, if your Scorpio house straddles 2 houses, right? Because I don't do whole sign. If you do, that's great. you're going to want to look to 9 degrees of Scorpio, okay? 9 degrees of Scorpio, just lean in a little bit there, and what we're leaning into, that area of life, right? But also the themes of Scorpio, which is transformation, deep transformation, going deep into whatever topics or metaphysical or occult things speak to you, and really diving in. So maybe it's working with your tarot cards this week. Maybe it's lighting candles and taking an extra long cleansing bath. Doing any kind of energy work. So energetic tools, using your energetic tools this week are going to be really important. Definitely like doing any release of other people's energies, cord cutting. All of that stuff is really highlighted with Scorpio. Another thing with Scorpio is they like some alone time. It is like the sign of like more introverted. So finding activities to do where you maybe don't have to converse with everybody this week. Maybe letting people know like, I'm going to be taking a little alone time this week. That is welcome, because the opposite of that is getting yourself into situations where you say something or you offend someone, or you get into a situation where you make some kind of thing happen that you can't take back. And so this is a very argumentative full moon. This is a very opinionated full moon. And it's really important to remember, I just posted my story, I really loved, this guy was talking about, and this is so Scorpio, like invite in all possibilities. Like, we don't know. I get so annoyed. There's nothing that I get more annoyed with when people try to tell me all the things that they know about what's really happening, or, what the vaccine is going to do, or like all these things, because I'm like, you don't know. You don't know. And it's like the more wisdom you gain on this planet, the more you realize there are so many things that we don't know. And the world is always going to be a chaotic place. This is always going to be our classroom until it's not. And because of that, we're always learning and growing. And if you're not in that place of always learning and growing, most likely you're going to suffer in some way. Either you're going to have to be like totally have the veil removed of all of your illusions, and that can be the scariest thing for people that haven't had that experience. Or you're going to be stuck. And when we're stuck, or when we're not in flow, and this is something, I was talking about with this, get your creative juices flowing. It's all about getting into the flow in your life in all the ways. With your body, we're going to do a light movement, mudras, those kind of things to get that flow going. When you're not in flow, basically you're in a state of resistance. You're in a state of stagnancy. And I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to waste my life being in a state of fear, frozen, stagnancy. Like, that's like not a life for me. So when you think about this full moon, and when you think about what you're clearing and what you're releasing, definitely look back to if you set new moon intentions, if you have your planetary planner, hopefully you did your new moon intentions. If you don't have your planetary planner, they're on sale right now on my website. So you can go on there, and I'll link in my profile, or there is a link in my profile. But it has some journaling prompts for the new and full moon. And part of that is so that at the full moon, you can cleanse and clear away the fears, the restrictions that you are keeping you from your new moon intentions, that are keeping you from your year-long intentions. Because that's another thing that I like to bring it back to. Each new moon, each full moon is an opportunity to get closer to your whole year intentions, right? And when you're thinking about that, also recognize that this full moon is closing out a cycle from the new moon in Leo, which I'm not going to remember. I almost want to say it was in August this past year. So look to that Leo new moon to understand what might be closing out, how much you've grown since that time period, what you're looking forward to growing into even more this year, so that when we're moving forward, we can really integrate all of those pieces of us. Because that's another thing that I'm finding. The people that are having a hard time moving forward right now and like setting intention, being in the future, thinking and bringing that kind of closer, are the people that still haven't digested, worked through like integrated what we've been through this year. And so if it's been like that for you, just know that working with me is the best way to integrate, close out, clear out, and then move forward in your life. So definitely check out that workshop happening on February 12th. I'm super excited to offer that to you, and it will come with a workbook. Also, it will come with a chance to enter. I'm doing some beautiful, it's very feminine focused. You don't have to be a feminine archetype to be in that, but I will be doing a giveaway which will include some very feminine gifts. So if you want to be entered into that, you just need to register for the course. And let's see, that's it. So it's on January 28th at 11:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's at 9 degrees. Look to where 9 degrees of Leo is for you. I'm sure there's other things. I mean, there's so much. This chart is so conflictive, and yet we need the conflict. And we need conflict because otherwise we don't grow. Like if we're just in a state of ease, if we're just in a state of like, you know, things just all being there for us, we don't have that opportunity to grow, and challenges unfortunately bring us growth. So welcome the challenge. Ask that it be easy on you. Ask that it be graceful, the challenge that you're rising to meet, and ask that it be for your highest good. And so it is. Have a beautiful day. If you want to check out that workshop, it's in my profile link. Bye.